Hi everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. So welcome back to another Vlogmas video. And to address the obvious, yes, I have gone like full Catherine Howard in 6 with my makeup today. I don't know why, I was just feeling a little festive. And of course, as with every Vlogmas video, I have to stand back and let you appreciate the Christmas jumper that I'm wearing. This obviously isn't your traditional like patterned Christmas jumper, but it's got lots of rainbow sparklies all around it. Oh, look how it glitters! But yeah, I really like this one. So today I thought that I would do the festive Christmas book tag. This was originally created by Girl Reading about 4 years ago, and I will link that original video down below for you. There are quite a few Christmas themed book tags floating around, but this was the one that I thought had the most creative questions and was the one that I was really keen to answer. The first question being a fictional family you would like to spend Christmas dinner with. And I feel like the obvious answer is the only answer that I can really give. I would love to spend Christmas Day with the Weasley family. Like honestly, who wouldn't? I feel like the main reason that I am so attracted to like loud, shouty jumpers now is because I really wanted a Weasley Christmas jumper growing up, and I'm still waiting. Question number 2 is a bookish item that you would like to receive as a gift. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this was meant to be like a fantastical bookish item, so things like the compass from His Dark Materials or like the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter. I don't know if that was how this question was intended, but I kind of wanted to talk about like bookish gifts that you can buy in real life, and I really wanted to shout out an Etsy shop that I am dying to get some prints from. So BookTube's own Carolyn Marie Reeds is a fantastic illustrator, and she has recently launched an Etsy shop where you can buy a bunch of gorgeous author prints. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed them and said how high quality they are, and I really want to get to some soon. She's got a really gorgeous Jane Austen one of Victor Hugo. Definitely she's done Charlotte and Anne Bronte. I'm not quite sure if she's done Emily yet. And a little while ago she did one that was of George Knightley from Emma, and I was just like, because as you might know, Mr. Knightley is my favourite of the Austen men. So definitely if you are looking for a bookish gift this Christmas, and especially if you're wanting to support small independent businesses, I definitely would recommend those. Question number 3 is a fictional character you think would make a perfect Christmas elf. And for this, I don't know necessarily if this is an odd pick, but the first person who came to mind was Lanny from Max Porter's Lanny. I don't know, I just feel like he would make a fantastic Christmas elf. I feel like he's somebody who picks up on like the small things, the minute things about everyday life that a lot of us overlook. I just have images of him having his art lessons with people life and just feeling like, oh yeah, I can imagine him in a workshop getting toys together. I don't know why. I feel like to be a good Christmas elf, you need to have that kind of work ethic and that kind of innocent way of looking at the world. Question number 4 is match a book to its perfect Christmas song. Wish I was at home for Christmas. Thank you very much. I hope that fantastic rendition doesn't get copyright striked. Question number 5 is BarHumbug, a book or fictional character you've been disappointed in and should be put on the naughty list. So this is a book character, however I am going to talk specifically about what the TV show decided to do with this character, so spoiler alert right now, if you've not watched season 8 of Game of Thrones, leave. I'll just leave a timestamp for when I finish talking about it. Okay, so unpopular opinion that I'm just gonna put out there right now, I don't hate Game of Thrones season 8 quite as much as everybody else seems to. I don't know, I feel like I see a lot of people saying like Jon Snow deserved better, Daenerys Targaryen deserved better, like either of them should have been on the Iron Throne, and I have never thought that either of them deserved to be king or queen of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't think they're particularly good rulers. I feel like it goes right back to season 1 of Game of Thrones, right back to Robert Baratheon, where one of the big messages of the show was that conquering and ruling are not necessarily the same thing. Being a good fighter, being a good general is very different from the everyday admin and sludge that is being a ruler. And I never felt like Jon or Daenerys were particularly good at that kind of role. I was never really fond of their characters anyway, so their endings I was perfectly happy with. I feel like for the end of season 8, most characters ended up where they should be, with a few exceptions. And I feel like the only aspect of Game of Thrones season 8 that I was genuinely like fuming at was the culmination of the character arc of Jaime Lannister. Oh, Jaime, what did they do to you? Going into season 8, Jaime Lannister was like one of my favourite characters in Game of Thrones, like top 5 definitely. I think aside from maybe Theon, he is the one whose character goes through the most growth and redemption. He definitely has his moments where he regresses a little bit, especially when he's with Cersei, but especially when he's with Brienne, he becomes such a better person. And that is why in my brain, season 8 finishes like midway through episode 4, because everything else that happened after Jaime and Brienne got together was just, No, it wasn't Jaime. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely think that Jaime was meant to die. I was not surprised at all that he and Cersei ended up dying at the same time together. However, I'm definitely a believer in the Valonqar prophecy. So something that for whatever reason the Game of Thrones writers decided to leave out of the show is the Valonqar prophecy. So there's a whole scene at the beginning of season 5 where young Cersei goes to Maggie the Frog, and she basically tells her she will not marry the prince, she will marry the king, she will have 3 children and all of them will die before she does. And then the final prophecy that Maggie the Frog tells Cersei is that she will die at the hands of the Valonqar, which is a gender-neutral term which could mean either little brother or little sister. There are many different theories on who the little brother or little sister could be. However, as you would probably expect from Cersei, she has spent her entire life believing that Tyrion is the little brother who is going to ruin her. Now, there are some slightly more out there theories because of the fact that Valonqar is gender-neutral, where some people think that Arya is going to be the little sister who kills Cersei, that Daenerys might be the little sister because she was the youngest of the 3 Targaryen children. However, the firm fan favourite theory, that was really hard to say, is that Jaime is actually the Valonqar, because whilst he may be the twin brother of Jaime, he was actually born after her and therefore counts as a little brother. And I was so expecting that the showrunners were going to make good on that prophecy and we were going to have a final scene between Jaime and Brienne where like he strangles her to death, because I think that's what the prophecy is that he will like clutch her throat and slowly choke the life out of her. It's a bright, happy book series. Like Cersei would be dead and then Jaime would quickly be killed afterwards, whether or not that was by the mountain or whether or not that was just by like the collapsing building or something like that. However, no, that is not what happened in Game of Thrones season 8. No, Jaime just went back to Cersei and they had a whole like romantic moment where they were like holding each other before they died, and no, don't like it at all. And I know something that a lot of people were very angry about was like before he goes back to Cersei, he even says to Tyrion that he never really cared much about the people, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Jaime Lannister, who killed the Mad King because the Mad King was wanting to murder the entire population of King's Landing and he killed him because he didn't want that to happen, that Jaime Lannister doesn't really care about the people? Like, what are you talking about, Dan and Dave? I'm fine, I'm good, I'm over it. I'm not over it. I'm just going to stand here a while with my Queen Sansa, Queen in the North. That'll calm me down. Okay, back to the questions. Question number 6 is a book or fictional character you think deserves more love and appreciation and deserves to be put on the nice list. So I know for a fact that I mentioned this particular character when I was talking about recommending a Jane Austen novel to each of Henry VIII's 6 Wives video. However, I feel like I need to mention it again, and I think that Fanny Price, and by extension the novel Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, really deserves more love, definitely deserves more appreciation, and should be on the nice list this year. Fanny Price is definitely like the most maligned Jane Austen heroine. She's often treated by Jane Austen fans as if she is quiet and dull and passive. However, that is just not true. She may be quiet, but she is definitely somebody who knows her own mind and is very strong and firm in her moral convictions. She is somebody who will not be easily swayed if she has decided that something is wrong and other people are trying to pester her into doing something that she's not comfortable doing. I think she is a very strong character. I think she's very resilient. She's a character who shows a lot of inner strength, and just because she is not as outwardly like witty and ballsy as like Elizabeth Bennet or Emma Woodhouse does not mean that she isn't a strong female character. Once again, I'm gonna leave Olive from a Book Olive's like breakdown of this character because she says it's so much better than I could ever do. Question number 7 is Red, Gold and Green, a book cover that has a wonderfully Christmassy feel to it. So already you will have seen a video that I put up at the beginning of Vlogmas which was all about different Christmas books that I love. So definitely they all have very, very festive covers as you would expect. However, I definitely think this was intended for a book that is nothing to do with Christmassy but just has an unintentionally Christmassy cover. I feel like The Good People by Hannah Kent definitely has an unintentionally Christmassy cover. Like, look at all that gold. Isn't that pretty? I think this stunning edition of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald could definitely be like a beautiful bauble on a tree. However, I think the books that I own on my shelves that have the best, most unintentional Christmassy covers has to go to The Amber Spyglass and The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. Like, just look at these. And then finally, question number 8 is a book or series you love so much you want everyone to find under their Christmas tree this year so that they can read it and love it too. So recently, a book that I've read that I think everybody should read is definitely The Day the World Came to Town, 9/11 in Gander, Newfoundland by Jim DeFede. This is a book that I talked about in part 1 of my November wrap-up. And maybe it's because it was the only one of the 3 books that I had read in that half the month that I gave such a glowing review for, but I was quite surprised to see how many people were so intrigued by that book. I just had a bunch of comments of people being thinking like, that sounds so interesting, I want to pick that up. And I've never had that kind of response before. And I feel like this is just a book and one of those stories that I think we all really need right now. So this is the story of what happened on the 11th of September 2001 after US airspace was closed, which meant that a bunch of flights were diverted to Gander, Newfoundland. Suddenly this small town, which only had about 9,000 people, suddenly had to accommodate 38 planes and around about 7,000 new people. It's a story about how Gander and the surrounding towns in Newfoundland really welcomed these people in with open arms. How despite the trauma of the day, despite the fact that there were so many different people from so many different countries, despite the fact that initially there was so much distrust, that these people really came together. It's one of those Be a Better Human books. One that really pushes you to want to do better and be a better person. And I just think it's really lovely and that everybody should pick it up because it's so nice. So that is it. Those are all of the questions in the Festive Christmas book tag. I do hope you've enjoyed this little festive book tag. Do let me know any answers that you would give to some of these questions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you are having a fantastic, fantastic day and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.